Welcome to How to Garden. Now, as many of you may already know, I have entered a gardening competition. And the point of that gardening competition is to educate people. It is called Global Gardening and Homesteading Skills. Today, I am going to be planting a tomato in a pot. Follow along, I'll show you how I do it. Now, for starters, this is a 35-gallon pot. Comes to tomatoes, the bigger the pot you can do, the better. I recommend a 15-gallon pot as minimum. Now it's already half full of what is essentially composted, 3-year composted wood chips. I filled this thing until it was heaping full of wood chips about 3 years ago. The next thing that's going to go in is fish. This is catfish. It's from last season. There are your fish. Now I have a few amendments I want to do. This is biochar. With the ash. The ash is important because it contains calcium. I don't really want the big chunks. Chunks like this are fine. Next thing that's going to go in is basically just plain compost. This is a mix of various different things. Wood chip compost, arborist chips, and a handful of other things. Now, because I was running low on soil, it's also got some peat moss in it. So I had a couple pots that just had some peat moss in it that were starter pots. It's also hot right now because when I started to mess with it, I found that it was full of ants. So I poured boiling water into this pot to kill the ants. Now those were what we locally call a bull ant. It's a fairly large ant that will bore into wood. One of the problems with using wood chips in Florida is the wood ants. Now, I give this a little while to cool down before I plant in it because it's almost too hot to touch. So I don't want that to affect the tomato. Be back in a few minutes. Alright, it should be cool enough to work with now. I also went ahead and added some water from the hose just to make sure. That's not a grub larvae. I don't want that in here. Now, with tomatoes, depth matters. Dig in pretty deep. I've only got this pot about 2/3 of the way full, and that's intentional. Because as this tomato grows, I plan on putting more dirt in until it's up to this line here. Maybe a little higher, depending on how much dirt I manage to get, dirt or compost. Now, I'm not 100% sure what variety this tomato is. I'm about 90% sure that it's an Everglades tomato. Because when I was planting my Everglades tomatoes, I lost one. As in, I couldn't find it. And this is the only tomato that is presently out there growing that was in my nursery area. Alright, that's all there is to it. I've kind of got it mounded up a little bit in the center. What that'll do, with me pressing it down along the edges here, so when I water it, all the water will have somewhere to pool and then seep through. That's a good technique on a big pot. Now, as the tomato gets bigger, it won't mean as much to do that, but it is a great thing to do with a start. I've got it just short the top leaves, and now this thing's trying to bloom. I don't want it to bloom yet, so I'm going to pinch those blooms. Hope you learned something. You have a great day.